Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. I'm Littlefinger. Welcome to Boot Camp. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how not to suck at World of Tanks. There's probably a million ways that you got to this point in life right now watching this particular video. Maybe you have a friend that put you on the World of Tanks. Or maybe you just found the app in your favorite app store and started playing. However it is that you got here, I'm sure that your win rate and your teammates will thank you for sticking through this video and learning the basics of how not to suck. So let me ask you a question. Have any of you guys ever been called a noob or an idiot or maybe even something worse? I gotta say, one of the downsides to World of Tanks Blitz is that there are a bunch of punks out there that like to sit behind their tablets and do a lot of name calling. So why don't you listen to this video and ingrain yourself with these tactics, and hopefully you will be called a noob a lot less. So the first tactic is to realize that this is a team game. Sounds quite simple, but you would be surprised. Some people don't get this hint early on. When you start up the game, it's pretty easy to see. It's 7-on-7, and for those of you that are mathematically challenged, 1 out of 7 equates to between 14 and 15%. Let's just round it up to 15%. So if you jump into battle and decide to walk away from your keyboard, also known as AFK, or you YOLO off by yourself and get killed all alone, essentially you have reduced the chance that your team wins by approximately 15%, and that obviously assumes that all players are equal, which is not necessarily the case, but you can see that that is quite frustrating to your teammates who are taking the game seriously and are concentrated on trying to win. So don't be like this guy, shooting his cannon into mines. If you want to do something like that, start a training room. Go mess around in there, or find a solo game like Candy Crush or something. A team game means teamwork. So that means working together. Never go off alone. Listen to the call at the beginning of each game. Oftentimes someone will say left or right. And follow those instructions whether you like them or not. Sometimes calling for a heavy tank to drive up a hill is not fun. If you don't like it, drive a different type of tank. Some situations call for a flank. If they've got a team of all heavies and you've got a couple mediums, it might be a good idea to flank. But never go solo. Always go with 1 or 2 other tanks. Teamwork means helping to keep your teammates alive for as long as possible. It's pretty simple. The more guns you have in the game, the longer, the better your odds are of winning. This is called teamwork, guys. Simple. The next mandatory learning requirement to graduate boot camp on how not to suck is to learn basic tank driving skills. You might have heard terms like getting hull down or side scraping or other terms. I'm not talking about this. I am talking simply of being aware of your own teammates. If you are playing this as a team and you are working together, moving as a group, you will be in close proximity to each other. So do not block one of your teammates. Do not run into your teammates. It's extremely frustrating when you are aiming and then you get run into by your teammate and your tank starts rocking and you miss your opportunity for a shot. Also, the big one here is never, and I mean never, block your teammate from being able to slam on the brakes and reverse. You will see this all of the time, and it is the one thing that you will definitely get called out if you do this, because things can spiral out of control quickly. Turning a corner, 2 or 3 tanks light up, and the guy that is in front that you are blocking from reversing gets tracked, gets shot several times, and all of a sudden you've lost a tank on your team. So never ever block one of your teammates from being able to reverse. The next requirement to graduate from boot camp is to learn your role on the team. Depending upon what tank you choose, you have a different role, and that also depends on the makeup of your team. So, for example here, heavies should typically be on the front lines because you've got that strong armor for protection. Lights and mediums should be used as scouts or causing disruption, so that you're helping spot your opponents. TDs are typically in sniping positions. One of the things that gets me is on some of these maps that have good sniping positions, you see a light tank go and hide in the corner of the map. This tank has a tiny gun and doesn't do any damage and is not helping the team at all by what would be described as camping. So there's a difference between sniping and camping. Camping is for those that don't belong, where they have decided to sit the entire game. Anyway, I have put together several videos that talk about the generalities of each nation. I think it's called Which One to Play. I recommend you look at those videos because there are differences between each nation, and it'll help you spend less time grinding up a tank line that you don't end up enjoying once you get to the higher tier tanks. So quite simply, learn your role and act as a teammate and learn how to drive. 3 very basic principles on how not to suck at this game. The next boot camp tip is more of a recommendation than a requirement, but get yourself into an active clan. Make some friends in the game, preferably in your clan, and platoon with players that are better than you are. There is that old adage of competing against or playing with players that are better than you will help you learn. So watch where they go on the map. Watch how they handle different situations and learn from them. Also, active clans have training sessions. They also have communications through like a Discord channel or Skype or TeamSpeak, so that you can communicate in-game or out of game. And say some clans might actually even do training room sessions where everyone gets together and learns strategies on different maps. And this is my chance here to throw out a recommendation for Mean Old Men. We are a fairly active clan with Mom S, Mom, and I believe it's Mom 1 through 7. So we have lots of different divisions, very active forum on the momworldorder.com website, and they're just a great bunch of guys, a lot of fun to play with. So if you are platooning with somebody, that allows you to choose your partner and who you bring into battle. So remember, each person's worth about 15% to the team. Might as well make that a person you trust and know to be a good player. Put the odds in your favor of winning more games. The next boot camp tip is to master each tank. What I mean is don't rush tank lines. Just because you've earned the experience and the credits to purchase a higher tier does not mean that you are necessarily ready for a higher tier tank. I do talk about this a little bit in my video, Avoiding Common Mistakes, but I guess the point is spend the time to learn each tank and master the skills required to drive that tank. If you aren't above, let's say, a 50% win rate in a tank, I would suggest not moving on. Obviously there's going to be exceptions to the rules, but just remember that there's no special tank in the upper tier that's going to be more dominant than any other tank. All of the tiers are the same. So spend the time in the lower tiers and just master your driving skills. And as this channel evolves, I'm certainly going to put up some more videos and things are going to get a little bit more detailed. So just practice and make yourself better in the lower tiers. So if you want to track your progress, click the record button in the garage in the lower left hand corner and then click vehicles, and you can see a list of all of your vehicles currently in your garage on the left hand side. You can scroll through them, you can choose one, and then on the right you will see your particular statistics for that tank. My boot camp recommendation is to set goals for yourself. You can see here one of my goals is to get to 60% victories. I'm at 57.38. Kind of a challenge considering I was below 50% with 7,000 battles played. My other goal is to master all of the tanks in my garage. Currently I'm at 91 out of 139. So I can check my status on this page. Your overall statistics can be checked by clicking on the statistics button at the top. You can see here your destruction ratio, also your damage ratio. Getting these above 1 is very good. At 7,000 battles, when I started really checking my statistics, both of these were under 1 for me. And so I set a goal to keep an eye on them and get them above 1, and you can see that I have done a pretty good job in turning that around. You can also find more detail online. There's 2 really great websites that show a lot of detail. Here's the first one, World of Tank Blitz Stars. So just enter a username and their server, hit submit, and pops up all of their information. You can see here I'm at 57% win rate, which is above 92% of all players. You can also see all of your medals and statistics on different breakdowns, such as your nation, your tank type, a ton of information here. So this is a really good website if you want to check out how you're doing in a specific tank. You can see here your damage ratios by tank, a lot of information. The other great website to use for checking stats is Blitz Stars. You can see at the top here it lists out all the important medals and has more of a focus on your 30-day stats. One of the nice things about this site is that it breaks your stats down by 30, 60, 90 days and career. There's also a lot of graphs and miscellaneous information. There's a tag you can put at the bottom for your forums. It lists out your top performing tanks and then breaks down individual tank stats. Check these guys out, blitzstars.com. Let's summarize this beginner's boot camp on how not to suck at World of Tank Blitz. Number 1, remember this is a team game. Act as a team player, work together, and help your team win. Number 2, learn the basic tank driving skills. This means be aware of your teammates, their locations, and don't interfere with their actions. Number 3, learn your role on the team. What tank are you driving? How is it best set up to get the most out of that tank? Master each tank that you own. By this I mean don't rush tank lines. Spend extra battles in your tank even though you've got the credits and experience to upgrade so that you are the best that you can be in that tank. Get yourself into an active clan. Play with a platoon with others that are better than you. Learn from them. And finally, set goals for yourself and track your progress. Plenty of websites to review and keep track of how you are doing. So guys, I hope this has been useful for you. like always, get educated, not fingered. Little finger out.